welcome back to the Football Chats podcast. It is episode number 70 today, and we're once again talking about Manchester United. I feel like we've only been doing this podcast a year, and yet 98% of our pods are about Man United.
Yeah.
There always seems to be something interesting going on with Man United, and today we're going to talk about that defeat against Brentford. Look, I feel for Man United fans because it was an embarrassment. Like what Neville and it was Neville, wasn't it, after the United game, moaning about it.
Neville and Redknapp.
Oh yeah, and it's like Redknapp to Neville was like, "Look at me in the eyes when I'm talking to you." It was such a weird. Just everything around the club is so strange. But yeah, I mean, they just capitulated.
Yeah.
First goal, Jadon Silva picks up on the edge of the area, slots in the bottom corner. De Gea has an absolute howler. I don't think they lose 4-0 if that doesn't go in. I think as soon as they see the only man that's been dependable over the last few years make a massive error,
they have
11 minutes or so into a game.
Two men that kept him in Europe, and that was Ronaldo and De Gea. Ronaldo right now you can't look to.
Well, he wants to leave, and De Gea's making errors. So who do they look at now? Because I think they're only half. Well, is there anyone who's done anything?
No.
For United in the opening two games, there's not a single player that's looked all right. Like Dalot, to be fair, Dalot looked all right in the first game.
Gary Neville on commentary I remember him saying towards the end of the first half, he couldn't name a single thing that United had done right.
No, there wasn't anything. They lacked any eagerness or desire. It was just absolutely shocking. It's like they don't care, and that is the biggest problem for United fans. Because even if they lose, you want them to look like they care. But when they play, at least, they don't look like they care. And then when you see Ronaldo and Maguire not even make their way over to the fans, your captain and your most vocal figure, your leader in Ronaldo, and they're not making their way over to the fans that have travelled to Brentford and lost 4-0.
I'm surprised the fans stayed.
I don't imagine there were many. There's probably one.
Yeah. But I mean, also, I think it was a home game. They'd all left, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well,
I guess because they've made the trip.
But they've planned a walkout for next week, so that's going to be exciting.
Well, the Liverpool game.
The Liverpool game, they have planned a walkout.
Well, don't blame them. They'll be 5-0 down after 10 minutes.
Exactly. But the thing is, it's like going to get kick-off and they all walk out.
Yeah.
Mate, that's because they're 5-0 down, not because they're protesting. It's because they're already losing. Yet they just looked too slow in possession. The second goal, that was the Eriksen error, wasn't it?
Brentford's best player, he was.
One assist. I mean, he's got to be ruining his career choices there. I mean, it's not gone well for him. Because look at the talented squad Brentford are assembling there. Eriksen would have slotted in that perfectly. He would have got himself a hatful today. And instead, he was on the receiving end of a 4-0 defeat. But yeah, they just looked too slow in possession. He was caught out. De Gea plays the ball to him. He kind of almost stands on it, gets caught out. Jensen, brilliant turn and finish, to be fair.
Third goal's the big one for me.
Is this the
Tony headed it down to Ben Mee, who beat Lisandro Martinez, proving that a bloke who is 5'9" and a centre half cannot defend in the Premier League.
I mean, if you put him in a 3 or play him as a DM, I think he can work. And he doesn't look bad at centre back.
Why is he marking Ben Mee? Who decided to put him on Ben Mee?
It's when he's playing. It's when it corners. He just hasn't got the aerial prowess.
Ben Mee tweeted, "I don't usually tweet after wins, but then again, I don't usually score headers in 4-0 wins."
Yeah, it's good to see. I think I'm very happy for him, Ben Mee. He's made a brilliant career move. He's always been a very decent centre back, playing for Burnley for years, and now he's finally got his move to a club that plays some really nice football and I think will pick up results. And then you look at James Tarkowski, who's been arguably his equal, and he's at Everton side that's going to be fighting for relegation. So well done, Ben Mee. You got yourself a very nice move.
Nathan Collins, he's at Wolves.
But to be fair, I think we may have judged Wolves harshly in our pre-season. But yeah, I will briefly turn our attention to Brentford before we go into our deep dive into Manchester United, because I think it does need to be said that Brentford looked fantastic.
United were bad, but Brentford's game plan was superb, and they took advantage of that early mistake and they punished it, and they got that 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and they were cruising at half time. Second half, nothing happened, and then obviously at full time, the fans were still in there like half an hour after full time, singing songs. squad.
Yeah, do you think that Brentford for European football is too bold a shout?
After last night, no. I think they've got a Mbuemo Aussie.
I just want to point out their fixture list quickly. Keep going.
But I look at the likes. Obviously, Mbuemo didn't look too good last year. He scored this week. He's hit some really good form. Tony.
Yeah, it took him time to adapt. He struggled at first. Yeah.
Tony with a goal and 2 assists already, which for my fantasy team, I'm absolutely buzzing.
I've been not talking about fantasy. I will cry.
And then just obviously Jensen had a fantastic game with a goal and an assist. As we said, Ben Mee got his first Brentford goal. So set pieces, they look dangerous as well. And then they putting the pressure on, win the ball back. And although De Gea did have a blunder, it was a decent hit from Jay Da Silva. Yeah,
it was a decent little finish. Looking at their results then, so they've picked up 4 points from 2 games. It's very sorry because they've played Leicester and Man United, two teams who would have expected European football this year.
They were 2-0 down to Leicester at half time.
Yeah. And they've brought that back. If you look at their fixtures, it's Fulham away, Everton at home, Palace away, Leeds at home, Southampton away, Arsenal at home, Bournemouth away, Newcastle at home, Brighton at home. Bournemouth away, Newcastle away, and then Brighton at home. Wow. That's a very nice next really nice. 9 fixtures. Then they have Chelsea at home, but I think they could genuinely, other than Arsenal, I think they'll lose that one. I think they could win every other game.
Yeah.
Because Newcastle and Brighton, they don't look unbeatable. They look very good, but they don't look unbeatable by any stretch. Palace will give them a good game, but I think Brentford will just about come away with a win there. And then Arsenal, they could even hold them to a draw, but I imagine that'll be an Arsenal win. Yeah. So, I think realistically, they could have another 20 points. If you're on 24 points from 11 matches,
I think the Fulham game will prove where Brentford actually are. Because there is obviously a possibility that this United game does blow out of proportion how good Brentford are.
And that actually Leicester are also not great.
It's that real debate. Were Man United bad, but Brentford really good? Or are Man United just horse shit?
I don't think United are horse shit. I also don't think I don't think that they concede that many if they don't concede so early.
Yeah.
But should we dive into United then?
I think that says a lot about mentality.
Right. Yeah, well, this is the main thing that's been talked about when they break it down. The pundits on Sky Sports, it's their mentality, it's their passion, it's their desire. No, it's just a shit group of footballers.
Oh my god!
As well, it needs to be said. They've got
been given no money whatsoever, and he's had to deal with what he's got, and it is awful.
And then when he's complaining in the media, it's deemed as unprofessional, and he's losing the dressing room already. It's like, well, what's he supposed to do? The poor blokes took over an impossible task. Yeah. They've got no money and they've got no decent players. What they need to do is sell a lot of the deadwood and then bring in players on very cheap deals. You can get some bargains out there. Look at Ben Mee and James Tarkowski. They might not be Man United quality, but whatever that means. But they will get results in the Premier League. Yeah. And that's what Manchester United do. I'm not saying, if they'd sign Ben Mee and James Tarkowski, they'd be absolutely sorted. It's fine. I'm just saying they should be looking at deals like that, prem-proven players on frees or at least on very cheap deals, and then you're looking at a decent side made up maybe of a few talented players. I think players like Sancho. Maybe I was going to say Rashford, but he's just looked terrible so far, and then ask him for a new contract for some reason.
See what happens when Martial comes back, but even
he could perform
Bruno,
well.
This is proving the point that Bruno Fernandes is only good at penalties.
Yeah, from open play he doesn't look great, but I do think you can hide his weaknesses by having better defensive players.
Yeah,
they need a DM and they've just not signed one. Yeah. Eriksen looks really good though. I think Eriksen's a fantastic bit of recruitment. You've got players, but there's not a lot you can do. You can't carry the team on his back. You've got some players with a lot of ability. You just need to play players around them that are going to.
I think De Gea just had a bad game.
Yeah,
everyone has a bad game that way.
But I would look at him at long-term replacement. I think Mike Maignan from AC Milan could be an option.
Yeah, the real kick in the teeth was when Dean Henderson kept the clean sheet and then saved the penalty.
Yeah, especially with what he's been saying. I completely agree with his comments, by the way. I know people have been complaining it's unprofessional for him to go and say that United have been treating him unfairly. Fucking hell, it's not. They've been treating him so unfairly. They said he'd get minutes. He barely played. I don't think I saw him last year.
No.
And that's why he didn't go out on loan. because he was promised he'd get minutes, and then he didn't get minutes, and then he's wasted a year. But I don't know why United keep him around. I don't see him as a long-term Manchester United goalkeeper. He clearly doesn't have any care for the club after the way they've treated him. Let him go on a permanent. You can easily recoup 20 mil there, and then invest that in the squad. I think Dallo looks all right. I think Malacia looks determined. I'd say he looks like a player that cares still. So you can definitely work with that. But players like Maguire and Shaw are on massive wages.
I don't understand.
You could easily fetch 40 mil.
I don't get why
combined for them.
Which
is mental, by the way.
Maguire starts over Varane. Maguire
is Varane injured this early part?
I think so.
He did come on, didn't he?
It was Malacia, Varane, and someone else who all came on.
McTominay. Never have I said that. He's not a good footballer.
I'm sorry, but when you're losing 4-0 down at half time, the thing I don't want to go to, right, where's my bench? Right, I'm bringing on Scott McTominay.
Yeah. It's not even a joke anymore. McTominay is not a good footballer. He risks he risks injuring other players every time he goes in for a tackle.
He is rubbish.
It's just the truth of it. He is not a good footballer. If Manchester United want to go forward, they cannot have Scott McTominay in the Premier League. It's simple as. But that's what they're going into the season with, and I think it's going to be another horrific year. The problem is, I don't think Ten Hag will be given time.
No.
And I think if he was given time and actual money, rather than them just going, well, we've got Eriksen, then maybe they could achieve something at Man United. But there's zero investment. I know, obviously, that's down to the Glazers, which is a whole other topic. Yeah. But I guess it has to be mentioned whenever you talk about Man United. They are the people ruining Man United at the moment.
The problem is, Man United fans can protest all they want. The Glazers aren't going anywhere. They're not there to be liked, they're there to make money.
Well, they could be. There is the rumour that Sir Jim Ratcliffe might be interested in investing. That could be a joint deal with the Glazers, which I think would be a bad idea. Or it could be a separate deal where he takes over Manchester United.
Would the Glazers want that? How much would you be willing to pay?
Well, I don't know.
Because the Glazers are going to want...
Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
The Glazers are going to want a lot of money for it. Like, a lot. And obviously, a lot more than what Chelsea were. A lot more.
Oh yeah, because Chelsea debt-ridden and... obviously the Abramovich situation and all that, yeah.
But I just don't... I think with the Glazers as owners, United aren't going anywhere.
I think United fans can get rid of the Glazers as owners, and it's the simple way of not going to games.
Yeah, keep beating up the stadium.
Keep
running on the pitch.
Not obviously that we condone illegal activities, but you can peacefully protest.
Like walking out next week.
Yes, exactly.
They're
making
the
right
Liverpool
decision.
fans.
That's a much better response than running on the pitch, swinging on the goals. Well, they had to call it off, didn't they? Yeah, they've had to play it the day after. Nets. So it's going to be an interesting game on Monday. Yeah. Liverpool versus Manchester United.
I'm so sorry for every United fan because there's no way that isn't under 5-0.
Should we look at the fun additions they're going to add though?
Oh, yeah.
So they've been linked with Marco Arnautovic and Adrian Rabiot.
Arnautovic is obviously now off.
Yeah, the Arnautovic deal's done.
But it's Morata.
I just want to on Arnautovic and Rabiot. It's literally like that. So they've gone on a... I want to use this analogy because I think it's useful. It's like they've gone to a wildfire and tipped gasoline on. This squad's morale and attitude is already horrific, and you want to put Adrian Rabiot in that dressing room, and Adrian Rabiot's mum involved with the club. That woman is the devil.
Cock.
Yeah, exactly. He'll chin a fan if he moans at him. It's just... I cannot understand the decision.
I've never known a little club to go. The problem is though, I'm guessing.
You know what? I'll tell you my horrible.
Because they haven't got much money to work with, they're probably gone for what they can get with the money they have.
15 mil. There's players you can get for 15 mil.
That aren't
Adrian Rabiot.
I just couldn't believe what I saw when I saw that. The fact Bologna rejected the bid for Arnautovic is hilarious.
Because if you look at the areas they need to improve, right? A left winger,
a striker.
Cody Gakpo for 35 mil, I think represents a really good deal, and I think he'd do all right. Yeah. Striker, I think you give Martial time, but you definitely need to bring in a backup.
I was going to say.
In terms of who that could be,
Morata.
Well, I think Morata's all right. I think as much as he gets get clowned on, he can have an impact in games. He's not the worst footballer ever.
No.
I know he had got a lot of offsides. I know he had a bad reputation for not really doing anything at Chelsea, but he did score a good goal against Man United.
Yeah.
So if he can do that again for Man United, he might do it against, to be fair. He might just head at his own net.
Yeah.
Add to the 17 goals that Liverpool have already notched up. But, yeah, and then, yeah, for middle midfield, Rabiot at 15 mil, why not look at a Seiko Fofana? I don't think he's made a move yet. For 25 mil, something like that. Or, look at, like, Renato Sanchez went to PSG for 15 mil. How has that happened? It's insane.
Just anyone.
But maybe you look at PSG, because there's going to be unhappy midfielders now that Renato's there.
Bring Under Herrera back.
Don't do that. He did work hard for him, but don't do
Better
that.
than Rabiot.
Don't. Whatever United do not bring Under Herrera back.
I don't get
because they'll buy him more. They'll pay more for him than they sold him for, and that would be such a Man United move.
And I think Lisandro Martinez would be better in defensive mid than he would at centre half.
I think he's fine. You just can't mark at corners, and you need to be wary of that.
No, I just don't think you can't be that. You can't be a centre half at his height in the Premier League.
Well, I think he's dealt all right with it so far. He's quite strong in the challenge.
Yeah, but he hasn't played any tall strikers.
I mean, Ivan Toney and Danny Welbeck are quite tall people. Unless you're talking about Gianluca Scamacca, who is literally going to be 9 yards ahead of him. Just, yeah. Other than him, I think he will be all right.
Sterling might win a header against Martinez.
That'll probably be Havertz, won't it, centrally? Well, there's two up front at the moment, but I imagine they'll put Havertz on Martinez and let Sterling make a mockery of Maguire.
You've got players like Varane and Van der Beek on the bench. Why aren't they playing?
I can't understand that. But then, how do you fit Van der Beek in? I'd drop Christensen. The way you do it is you drop Bruno entirely, and you play Van der Beek and Eriksen as your midfielders, and then a defensive midfielder is imperative.
Fred can do a job.
No, he cannot. Fred can do a job in one of those central midfielder roles. He is not a defensive midfielder.
McTominay should not touch the pitch with a barge pole.
Who they need is someone like a Declan Rice. I don't think Declan Rice is going to make that move. But
Roberto Gagliardini.
To be fair, not a bad shout. I think they could get him for somewhere around 5 to 10 mil. It's a cheap, relatively low risk deal. Maybe though, if you're looking at Inter, you look at Matthias Vecino.
Yeah,
probably a better deal than Gagliardini. But either way, it just doesn't look great. They lost out on Nunez to Liverpool.
They lost out on the big strikers. They lost out on.
Who else were they in for? Chelsea were also interested. I can't remember. They could have got
Scamacca. They could have gone and got another striker, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They went, Ronaldo, I know you hate the club and don't want to be here, but can you start a front for us?
I think maybe they take a punt on Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
It'd be a very similar deal to when they took a punt on Martial, but I think Isak looks better now than when they signed Martial, who was relatively unknown at the time he joined. And then, there's deals you can make, though, because you look at Houssam Aouar going to Nottingham Forest. Surely if Man United went in there, with the money they'd be able to offer up in contracts, surely they can get that deal.
Why is Luke Shaw starting over Malacia? It's decisions like that I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Shaw had an absolute mare against Brentford.
Horrific situation. And for United, I don't see how it improves, because without serious investment, I genuinely think United are going to be bottom half.
That's right,
I cannot see a way that Manchester United challenge
after watching that
Europe.
that game against Brentford. That's Brentford.
And we may be overreacting because, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Arsenal did lose their opening 3 games of last year, and they still qualify for the Europa League in 5th. But I do think there is more raw talent
United are in a much worse situation.
And obviously, Arsenal only lost 1-0 to Brentford. United lost 4.
And Arsenal played City by this point.
Yeah, and then they played Chelsea after this, which is going to be Man United's Liverpool.
So that's saying Man United. That's the problem though. They'll lose 6 points at Liverpool, 6 points at Tottenham, 6 points at City, 6 points at Arsenal, 6 points at Tottenham, 6 points at Chelsea.
You said Tottenham. Chelsea will not give them 6 points. Chelsea will draw with them because Anthony Taylor's probably going to ref and just give many goals. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to keep it nice and civil on today's podcast. Absolutely. But if you're watching Anthony Taylor, then
you are a muppet.
Yeah, I was going to say much worse, and then I realised that's probably not a great idea. But yeah, Anthony Taylor. If you want to come on the pod and we'll talk about all your problems with refereeing, then
we get Mark Clattenburg in here. We'll do a comparison.
So
who's made the most shit decisions?
Battle of Bridge 1 versus Battle of Bridge 2. Let's analyse. Well, Mark, you didn't give this one, but Anthony, you didn't give this a chance.
Yeah.
That'd be good. But so additions we'd make, I think, is the final thing I've written on the board because we've kind of run through them.
Yeah, position wise.
Yeah.
Right? Left wing, striker, midfielder,
DM, specifically DM. We don't need any more midfield.
Yeah,
so many.
Centre half, probably a fullback. Dallo could do a backup because Wan-Bissaka.
Sell Wan-Bissaka, get some money.
Yes.
Get him gone.
Why have they got a bloke they paid like 80 million for sitting on the bench?
Yeah.
Sell him. The thing is though, they've got to admit they're going to make losses on their players, but they've got to sell Maguire. They've got to sell Wan-Bissaka.
I think they need to spend the next 1 to 2 years, maybe even 3, building a squad that is good enough for 7th.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, their team is not good enough for top half, and yet they've got all these players on huge deals. You could easily amass a really, really good squad with the wage structure they have. Yeah. Because what you do is you sell everyone, bring your wage bill down, invest that bit of wage bill into the transfer budget, restructure the whole wage system that is completely fucked at the moment at Man United.
Yeah.
The amount of players on huge deals that don't deserve it is ridiculous. So just there needs to be a whole... There's so much wrong with Man United at the moment. And imagine, like, even new signings are probably not going to be on anything else because you can't give them lower contracts. Because then they'll go, well, hang on, McTominay's on 160 grand a week. I should be on at least £1 million a minute. So it's impossible. Probably something like that. I don't know what McTominay's contract is. It's got to be over 100 grand though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe 80 grand at a minimum, but you'd imagine it's over 100 grand. United have a lot of problems to fix, and I don't know whether they will.
No.
But I guess it'll be interesting to see. I genuinely think the way United are going, the thing is, they will not fold because the Glazers are financially smart enough to keep them up, to keep them afloat. So I don't think they're at risk of folding or anything like that because their finances are fine. Because the Glazers can always just put in the money they've just taken out as dividends, so that's all right.
But unfortunately, that Brentford performance, in the freak event that they do get relegated, I don't see them come straight back up.
Maybe the parachute payments are actually... Well, to be fair, I think relegation for Man United will be the best thing. And I think United fans would disagree. Maybe, I don't know, there may be some out there that agree. I think that relegation for Manchester United will be the best thing possible because I think that will kick the Glazers out. There's no way the Glazers are going to be interested in Man United if they're a championship side. No. Yes, you might make a huge loss in terms of marketing, and a lot of players are going to want to leave, obviously. But I don't think that's an inherently terrible thing because you're still going to be the richest squad in the championship by a country mile. Oh, yeah. You will be able to offer contracts to players that the entirety of the Luton squad are on.
McTominay will look like Xavi in the middle of that midfield.
He won't... Okay, that's a bit of a stretch. He might look like Sergio Busquets with one leg, but he will look better than a donkey with no legs.
At the moment, isn't he?
He does have legs, he just doesn't use them right.
I just don't get how United fans think, anyone thinks he's good.
I genuinely don't know if he's even championship level. Is he just League One? All he has to his game is he runs around and he kicks people.
I think it's like all he does. Forest Green. No, actually,
it's not like 2004. You can't have a player on your team that just runs around and kicks people.
Roy Keane and go around trying to break.
But at least Roy Keane had some technical ability. Obviously, he wasn't completely horseshit. There's a lot of improvements to be made. Make sure you get involved in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, you're going to have to head on over to YouTube to get involved in the discussion. I want to hear from you guys, especially Manchester United fans. What do you think is the biggest problem with the squad? Is it everything? I literally put out a poll, by the way. I'll try and find it quickly before we round up today on the YouTube community tab. And it was, where do Manchester United most need to improve? And I think it's quite an interesting poll. I'm going to look at the findings now. Our community says that Manchester United... I just put out, where do Manchester United need to improve most urgently? Goalkeeper, defence, midfield, attack, literally everywhere. We got 41 votes, so thanks to everyone who got involved. So 5% said the goalkeeper, 12% said the defence, 10% said the midfield, 5% said the attack. So there's a good spread there of people who think that everything needs to improve. And then 68% said literally everyone needs to be replaced. So, yeah, that's fun.
Wow, yeah.
I said it says a lot. 68%, but yeah. It is only 41 votes. But if you want to get involved with that, make sure to do that in the YouTube community tab. But yeah, that is all for today. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like or a follow or subscribe. It helps us out whenever you press the things.
On Spotify. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're on Spotify, you can hit add. If you hit download,
add to episodes.
You can add it to your episodes. You can if you've listened to enough of it, so that's good. Which if you've got to this point, you probably have. And yeah, YouTube. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. It helps the algorithm if you comment and like. So if you could do that, that would be great. But yeah, as I said, that's all for today. Thank you all very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.